Hey everybody, welcome to Eagles Game Plan presented by Toyota, and the Eagles are tied for the division lead. If they win their last 3 games, they win the NFC East. Can you believe it? They first have to go through the Redskins. Now, they've beaten the Redskins 5 straight times, but Washington's playing pretty well over the last couple weeks. Let's break down the game-winning drives against the Giants, Carson Wentz's first fourth quarter or overtime game-winning comeback this season. Here's Tape Study, presented by Chickies and Pete's, with our own Ike Reese and Doug Peterson.
Wentz in the gun. Scott to his right. Wentz pitches to Scott. Tries to turn the corner. He's at the 45, 50, 45. Down to the 40-yard line goes Boston Scott.
Joining us this week for Eagles Tape Study is Eagles head coach Doug Peterson.
Hi.
Coach,
Thanks.
how you doing? First of all, congratulations. Big win this past week.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Against the Giants. Let's jump right into overtime, man.
Yeah.
Obviously a great comeback win for you guys, but this drive in overtime, I thought really showed what everything you guys were doing on offense from a player standpoint. And little guy right there, man, Boston Scott did a great job of giving you guys a spark.
He did. Boston did a great job for us, along with a lot of our young players, offensively. And, of course, Sidney Jones stepped in there and made a nice third down stop for us. But, of course, I don't want to put out too much information. We do have to play these guys in a couple of weeks. But this was obviously a unique play design to take advantage of this defensive end in this position right here. So it's just a simple ghost motion with Greg to get the corner to run. And then, as you can see, there's really a short edge right here. And so we're asking Dallas to capture the defensive end. We got a quick toss. We're pulling Brandon. Brandon and Kelsey coming around the edge right here to knock down the defenders. And really great patience by Boston, just to kind of stay back inside the blocks. And I think one of the things that the Giants may not have expected was the speed from Boston and the quickness from Boston. And really for us as an offense, it was a little bit of a change of pace for us. And so you can see now where Boston is here. He's just going to have the nice patience to dip back inside behind Brandon and Kelsey right there. And it's great for Kelsey, to come back and really you get 2-on-1 in that situation there. And look at all the space you got for Boston to run. Again, well designed, well executed. Just stay in bounds right there and finish. But it was a great play. And
I tell you, it's a tough thing for a defensive player, for a guy like Boston in that size. It's hard to find him behind those big offensive linemen. He did a nice job of being patient.
And as you know, as being a linebacker with guys that are a little bit shorter, it is hard to find him. You're absolutely right.
Really did. You guys dug in the playbook a little bit here. This play, I think I remember from a playoff game a couple of years ago.
Yeah, exactly right.
Against Atlanta. And nice little play design here for Miles Sanders.
Yeah, so again, we put 35 and 26 miles in Boston in the game. And we did this play, like you said, a couple years ago. That was Nelson Aguilar in that position. So same play design. The Giants come out and kind of present no safety look, kind of give us a zero blitz. There's no safeties back there. And when this linebacker broke the box right there, kind of gave us some issues. But we pulled Big V over on this side right here as he comes down the line. And the one thing that I'm pleased with Miles is the patience right here. The patience of hanging in behind that block and then just finding that crease right in behind JP and Big V and getting the first down. And obviously, what a tremendous run. I thought when he broke it, he was in the end zone and it was going to be game over right there. But a well-executed play again on the run. So there's a lot of plays that we execute that sometimes we don't put our players in a position. We don't get all the looks in practice. And you have to react as a ball player, and that was one of those times.
Here's your game-winning touchdown here. Looks like the Giants may have had some confusion there, but Zach Ertz out here detached from the offensive box, motions back in, they just turn him free.
Yeah, they just turn him loose. And one of the things that when you study tape, you always study shifts and motions by an offense and how it affects the defense. And so if you run the tape back just a little bit, you can see we shift Dallas and Josh Perkins right here, one off and one back on. And then what it does, it gets these two guys right here to communicate. And that's all we want, is just to get a little communication right there. So now it changes their rules just a little bit. As you know, from a linebacker safety combination, we're going to bring Ertz back in motion. And then what ends up happening, Dallas comes right now. So now it affects the corner position. It widens him. And then we get this route back inside, which is the same route we scored the tying touchdown pass against them. And we did the same thing with Zach. And then you can see Perk here kind of get 47, just grab his attention. And then all Carson has to do is really just clear the defense and make the throw. Again, just a well-executed play by our guys.
Eagles Game Plan is brought to you by your local tri-state Toyota dealers, a proud automotive partner of the Philadelphia Eagles. NovaCare Rehabilitation, the power of physical therapy. And by McDonald's. I'm loving it. All right, Mike Quick, how about some of the young Eagles receivers stepping up for Carson Wentz? J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, over the first 9 games, he only had 2 catches, but over the last 4 games, he's got 6 catches, and some of the longer pass plays made by an Eagles receiver seems to be growing in this Eagles offense.
Well, and you need him to grow. You don't know the status of some of the other receivers, and you're now starting to get down to the 4th, 5th guy on that roster, the position. This guy really has to grow, and I really like what I saw from him in the Monday night game. This play in particular, you've got press coverage, Sam Bill's right in his face, and he's going to try and throw off the timing. Carson Wentz gets his ball up quickly. It's a quick passing game, but watch this. See that avoid, that ability to take on the pressure? He's quickly closing that gap on Sam Bill. He swats him out of the way, and right away, John, he's on top of him. He's won at that position right there. He's already won. The ball gets up quickly, but what's most important about this, the brilliant catch at the end of this. The ability to track that football over his outside shoulder, make that catch, and it's a 3rd down play, keeping the drive alive. That was a very important play in the win of this football game.
And you know, it's tough for a rookie learning NFL receiver spots. JJ told us there's over like 200 plays for each spot.
Yes.
And now he's able to play instinctively and just play football instead of trying to think of where he has to line up and where to go.
And that is so important, that he gets comfortable with his assignment so that he's not thinking the game, he's just playing the game. He's getting to that point, and then we'll get to see JJ at his very best, when he can just go out and play and not thinking about the game.
And the Eagles offense with a lot of young players, big test against the Redskins defense. Greg Cosell has that. Enemy Intel is brought to you by Rothman Orthopedics at Jefferson Health, the official orthopedics and healthcare partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Even though the Washington Redskins defense is not highly ranked, they still present some tactical challenges that the Eagles offense must be aware of. And when you watch tape of them, one thing really stood out to me. They line up with what we call a 5 across front. A lot of teams call that a diamond front. And the reason you do that when you line up 5 across is you are essentially forcing the offensive line to set one-on-one to each player who's right in front of them, because they're potential pass rushers. They're all on the line of scrimmage. So that means your center has who's in front of him, the 2 guards have who are in front of them, and the tackles have who are in front of them. So it's one-on-one pre-snap pass protection. Now, having said that, what a lot of teams do, and the Redskins do it beautifully here, is they don't rush all 5. They force the offense to set the protection, and then they break down that protection knowing what it is. So the 3 inside defenders who are over the center and the 2 guards, they drop out. And what do you get? Jimmy Moreland, a slot corner, Cole Holcomb, a linebacker, coming from the respective edges, and no one is there to block them. They're both unaccounted for. They're clean to the quarterback. So now we're going to see this again. This will be against Carolina and a young quarterback. They line up again, 5 across. Again, the protection gets set. One-on-one pass protection against all 5 on-the-ball potential pass rushers. This time, they drop out, and you can see they'll only rush 4. A young quarterback like Kyle Allen, he drops back, he hesitates, because all of a sudden there are more in coverage than he initially thought, and he's uncertain as to where to go with the football. So the pressure will eventually get there, force him to move out of the pocket to his right, and throw the ball away. So while the Redskins defense has not played at a high level all season long, they do present some tactical challenges for the Eagles offense. That's something that the Eagles offensive line and Carson Wentz must be prepared for.
All right, how huge for the Eagles offense and Carson Wentz with a lot of young players who are on the practice squad stepping up in those big moments, 2 long drives to beat the Giants. What does it do for a lot of those young guys?
But I think it does a lot for the entire team that they're able to close out games with drives like that. When you've got a young guy like Josh Perkins coming up, Greg Ward coming up, and they make significant contributions down the stretch like that, it's really big, but it really begins with the quarterback. Carson was so good in those last 2 drives down the stretch, but the contribution from those guys made a huge difference in the game.
And Ike, Carson says he didn't even get a chance in practice to rep some of these plays that he ran with some of these younger players, and Boston Scott was amazing.
Yeah, I think it's hard to put into words how big of a game those young guys played. I mean, national TV, the importance of the game, the fact that they were being counted on so much.
Right.
I mean, and Carson had no other choice. I mean, this is who was left available to him to play, and they needed them in big moments. Being down 17-3, wow. I mean, just a huge game from all of those young players, and I think every last one of them made a huge contribution.
The play that Whiteside made down the sideline, and it's right in front of the Eagles bench. So everybody got the chance to see this young kid in a really difficult play make a brilliant catch. I think it sparked everybody.
Yeah, and speaking of a spark, that's exactly what Boston Scott was.
Yes.
I mean, this offense seemed to find some life when Boston Scott started running the football. And I know we've talked about him reminding us of Darren Sproles.
Sure.
And that's certainly who he looked like out there running. And those are the type of plays that Sproles would make for your offense. He would give you that energy when you needed it. So Boston Scott able to get this offense going, and then the rest of those guys, it sort of just carried it on home.
And also with Carson Wentz, Lane Johnson obviously has an injury, and that's going to be tough. But the offensive line had trouble at some time protecting him, and he didn't have clear throwing lanes. He was having pressure. But when he's moving out of the pocket and those plays where he's rolling out, he's the highest rated quarterback in the NFL outside the pocket. Do you want to see more of that, keep him on the run?
I most certainly do. I mean, I think that's when he's at his best. When you let the Bronco buck, he can do his thing. And here's the other thing, right? That's obviously a team win.
Right.
But that is a huge confidence builder for Carson Wentz as a quarterback, a guy who's always under the microscope and fans wanting him to be able to lead you to a victory when the chips are down. That was a huge win and momentum builder for him going forward. The guys in that locker room, you can understand when you look at your quarterback over there, he can lead you to victory when the chips seem to be down. That guy can put you on his shoulders, carry you to victory. Big game for him.
And I think he likes movement, and I think it helps this offense when they're moving him out of the pocket. He throws well on the run, and you spoke to that. But going against the Redskins, when they've got guys like Ioannidis and they've got guys like Montez Sweat, and you know they're going to get pressure on him, it's important that you move him around a little bit.
You know, the Eagles defense gave up a lot of big plays in that first half against the Giants, Ike Reese, but second half they only gave up 29 yards against the Giants. First time they've done that to a team in 18 years. What did they change up or do better in the second half and overtime?
Well, it was really night and day when you really watch them on film, right? First half of the game, I thought Eli had way too much time back there in the pocket, allowed him to get comfortable, able to make some throws that they were able to connect on. In the second half, I thought they switched up some of their coverages, confused Eli a little bit. You watch him here, a key situation, and they're going to run a little bit of a combo coverage here, right? You're going to get a little bit of what we call quarters coverage on this side of the field. And on the backside where Eli wants to go with the football, you get a little bit of a cover two here. So you got Ronald Darby matched up out here with Slayton as where Eli wants to go. That's been his hot wide receiver. But you're going to get the safety playing over the top here and getting Eli to come off of that coverage. By the time Eli comes back to the field, you basically have 4 defenders here covering just 2 receivers. They do a great job inside on Golden Tate, and Jalen Mills does a nice job on the outside here. But really, they got pressure on Eli Manning. So when you bring this back, watch how Vinny Curry gets off of the ball. Now, it starts with the coverage here, making Eli hold on to the football, but Vinny does a great job, gets a great jump off the ball. Nate Solder, who's been struggling in pass protection, that's why the tight end was over there helping. Vinny Curry able to get the first sack of the game. Just another big play on third down where the Eagles were able to get off the field, and that's probably the best thing they did in that game against the Giants.
When you have a young quarterback like Dwayne Haskins, one thing you really want to do is run the football. In fact, you'd really like that to be the foundation of your offense. You'd like to work your pass game off the run game, because what that often does is give you defined reads and throws for your young quarterback. And that's something that we've seen this year with the Redskins in the games that Haskins has started. But we're going to start with the run game, because that's, again, the foundation and where it all starts. And on this particular play, you're going to see the straight I formation. Now, they're going to run power here to the strong side of the formation, the left side of your screen. They're going to double team on that side. That's where it all starts. You get the double team combo block on the play side, and then you bring the guard from the opposite side. He's the puller. Here it's Brandon Sheriff, one of the best guards in the NFL. So what you get on this closed formation, the left side of the formation, is you get the fullback Burton kicking out the safety, and you get Sheriff then wrapping around and blocking the linebacker. This is power about as well as it can be executed. But as we said, it's all about play action with a young quarterback. And you're going to see that here. What they run here is a great vertical route combination. It's called cross-country dagger. You get a deep over route working across the field, and you get a dig route behind it. Here, the dig route is run by Kelvin Harmon, another rookie. So off the movement, what you get from Haskins is he slides left and then drills the ball to Harmon right in a void in the zone for a 20-plus yard explosive pass play. So what you just saw here is the run game being really effective and then the pass game working off the run game. That is something that you'll expect to see from the Washington Redskins with their rookie quarterback.
All right, guys, when you look at the Redskins offense, and they kept that game in Green Bay close, how much do you have to look out for play action? I know they're missing Darius Geis, but how much do you have to look out for play action with Adrian Peterson and a couple other guys they have there?
Well, I think that's the thing that hurt this Eagles defense the first time they played against the Redskins. They have a lot of play action, and you're going to see them put the ball in the belly of the running backs, but it's not in the belly of the running backs. They're going to try and get the ball over the top. They're a really good play action team. They can run the football. Geis is not there, but still, they've got Adrian Peterson and company.
Yeah, and it's going to be important that the Eagles front seven do a great job of stopping the run. You get beat on play action when your safeties have to start creeping up to the line of scrimmage to help you out in the run game. If they can stop that run game with the front seven, those safeties can stay back and help out on some of these deep receivers, because that's the one thing that Dwayne Haskins does well. He has that big arm.
Yep.
He wants to put that ball down the field. He holds on to it for a while because they want to give time for these plays to develop. But you stop the play action pass, I believe, with your front seven, let your secondary sit back there and play coverage.
Terry McLaurin made his name in that first matchup against this defense, so they've got to be aware of their ability to get downfield.
And how about the young quarterback, Dwayne Haskins? He was playing on a sprained ankle last week in Green Bay. You could see he could hardly put weight on it, but he's shown some flashes here and there.
Yeah, he's done some good things. I still think he has a long way to go in his development process. You know, just like a lot of young quarterbacks, still having trouble dissecting the defense, understanding where the ball should come out quickly. So that's going to be a benefit for the Eagles because he'll hold on to the football, right? We played against a few quarterbacks that get the ball out of their hands quick. Brady, Fitzpatrick, even Eli Manning last week. Well, we saw what this defense can do when a quarterback holds on to the ball. Like Seattle, Russell Wilson, 6 sacks against them. This kid is going to give you opportunities to get some negative plays with him because he's so hell-bent on trying to get that ball down the field, and he's still having problems reading coverages.
I think the way this Eagles defense, they're getting after quarterbacks, I don't think they want to leave that kid in the pocket. I think they're going to really rely on the play action and getting him moving and maybe even some RPO stuff, just so you don't have him sitting there in the pocket because they know how well this Eagles defense can rush the quarterback.
And you think the Eagles have some good matchups with their defensive line against Donald Penn, the left tackle, on the left side of that line?
Yeah, I mean, listen, Donald Penn is a journeyman who's had his better days behind him. I think this is a good game for Fletcher, Brandon, to be able to get going. It'd be interesting to see if we have Derek Barnett back or not. But Vinny Curry's coming off having a 2-sack game. And then I thought also Josh Sweat. He's continuing to show some flashes. So I think with the Eagles, their defensive line, their strength is in numbers. So if you can keep throwing fastballs at this Redskins offensive line, it should be beneficial for us.
I was really encouraged the way they played in Monday night, that defensive line, and I think they will do likewise against the Redskins. The center is a guy that I think, Fletcher Cox, he'll have a good time with.
Yeah, and you can't underestimate the Redskins because you saw the Dolphins and the Giants, teams with 3 wins or less, how close those games were. All right, we talked about the game plan. You got to pressure Dwayne Haskins, the rookie quarterback, and the Eagles' young players on offense. They grew up in the comeback against the Giants. Hopefully it continues. If you want more X's and O's, check out our Eagle Eye in the Sky podcast, wherever podcasts are available. Thanks for watching Eagles Game Plan, presented by Toyota.
Eagles Game Plan is brought to you by your local tri-state Toyota dealers, a proud automotive partner of the Philadelphia Eagles. NovaCare Rehabilitation, the power of physical therapy. And by McDonald's. I'm loving it.